We just got back from Thor Love and Thunder, and let me tell you, it made us laugh, it made us cry, it inspired us to embrace love over hate, and be heroes ourselves. Pretty sure Thor is the only MCU hero to get a 4th solo film, and the ending and the additional scenes at the end of the movie leaves plenty of room to explore with the character in future projects. Before we continue, we have a massive spoiler warning, so get to the theater and see it, man! The wait between 2017's Thor Ragnarok and 2022's Thor Love and Thunder was a long wait, but the God of Thunder has seen plenty of battles in between. Not only is Thor one of the longest running original Avengers, he also played a major role in both Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. So grab your weapons, put on your outfits, and let's rock and roll. I'm Joey C. Let's go! Thor Love and Thunder picks up with Thor still traveling with the wonderful motley crew known as the Guardians of the Galaxy, after he left with them at the end of Avengers Endgame. They now have a new mission. They learn that Jamie Alexander's Sif and the other gods are in trouble, and Thor returns to New Asgard only to find that his long-lost love, Jane Foster, played by the wonderful Natalie Portman, has been able to raise the remains of Mjolnir, Thor's old hammer baby. And after raising the remains, she becomes the mighty Thor. Christian Bale plays Gorr the God Butcher, and he is absolutely terrifying. He kidnaps the Asgardian children and hopes to trick Thor and company so that Gorr could retrieve the key to unlocking eternity, where Gorr plans to use a wish to kill all gods. Now you're probably asking why he wants to exterminate the gods. Well, it's because in the beginning of the movie, he prayed to his god to save his daughter, and his daughter ended up visiting the great beyond, if you will, and his god made a mockery of Gorr when they met. After the final battle, and Gorr is defeated, he still gets his wish. He ends up wishing his daughter back instead of killing the gods. Thank God, pun intended. Thor becomes a parent to Gorr's daughter, who starts to exhibit some strange powers. More on that later. But with Sweet Child of Mine playing at the end of the movie, and periodically throughout the film, we finally understand. Gorr's daughter is Thor's new sweet child of his, baby. Let's dissect the ending a little bit more, shall we? It's an ending explained video for God of Thunder's sake. Thor travels to eternity alone to face Gorr after he discovers that Jane's use of the hammer has been preventing her body from fighting her stage 4 cancer. It's a long story, we don't have time. Thor arrives to the kidnapped children and temporarily gives them powers to fight the shadow beasts. Together, Thor and the children fight off the army and Gorr as they attempt to block Gorr from using the Stormbreaker and the Bifrost from opening eternity. However, Thor is almost overcome by Gorr and almost falls prey to the fatal Necro Sword. Fortunately, mighty Thor arrives just in time and uses her new powers of the hammer, which allows it to shatter into pieces and destroy the pieces of the Necro Sword. Thor is able to free Stormbreaker, which is the key to eternity, by the way. But it's a moment too late, as we see Gorr entering into eternity and preparing to wish the gods out of existence. Like we discussed before, Thor is able to convince Gorr to choose love as Jane dies of cancer, and Gorr chooses to resurrect his daughter instead. And now that I think about it, Gorr dies at the end of the movie because the Necro Sword was keeping him alive and it was destroyed. And Gorr's daughter is Love, and Thor is the God of Thunder. Love and Thunder, it all makes sense now. Let's dive a bit into the post-credit scenes. And let's be honest, no one was surprised that there were 2. There's always some good juicy couple of details at the end of Marvel movies. And not even including the famous Thor will return text that shows up at the very, very, very end of the movie. During the second act of the movie, Thor throws a thunderbolt through Zeus. It's another long story, we don't have time. But in the first post-credit scene, we see Zeus nursing his wounds with the wonderful ladies of the council. We obviously see that Zeus survived the ordeal, but now seeks vengeance upon Thor. Zeus sends his son Hercules to kill Thor and re-establish faith or fear in the gods rather than the superheroes, possibly setting up another installment of Thor's adventures, or perhaps setting up a side plot in a bigger Avengers project. In the second Thor Love and Thunder post-credit scene, we see a newly deceased Jane entering Valhalla, but the rules of Valhalla might seem a bit unclear. It is revealed earlier in the movie that warriors can only get into Valhalla if they die during the battle, and not after the battle, like what happened to Jane. While Jane dies after the main physical conflict with Gorr, she is still participating in a battle to persuade Gorr not to kill the gods. Although it is not a physical battle, it is still a combat of sorts, and clearly is enough to justify her entrance into Valhalla. Ladies and gentlemen, you made it to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. What did you think of Thor Love and Thunder? Let us know in the comments below, and as always everybody, thanks for watching.